morning, everyone, and thank you to Paddy and the team at Inclusion Ireland for all your hard work in organising today's event and the invitation for me to speak with you here this morning. My name is Avril Webster, and I'm here on behalf of our son Stephen, who's 18, and Stephen is leaving school next month. And I'm here today to talk about choice. And it's like, our picture is up there, is it? Just on that side. So Stephen is the guy in the middle there beside my husband Robert, Stephen, Michael, myself, and my daughter Rachel. And I don't know if I can invite the slide to just take a look at the. I think it's important that we see that we're talking about a very important person here. So I'm married to Robert, and we have 3 children. Stephen, 18, Michael is 15. Sorry. Michael, 15, and Rachel is 13, and we live in Limerick. Stephen is a fun-loving, energetic young adult, and I have some slides that I'm going to run, and I'm going to let the slides loop along while I talk on here, and I hope the slides give you all a sense of who he is and the joy and the crack that he brings to our lives. And I should say, Stephen likes to sing. I think the minister likes to sing too, is that right? Yeah, Stephen likes to sing. Stephen likes to sing, and Stephen particularly likes traditional Irish music and a big fan of the High Kings. So I'm going to press this to go here now, and I'm going to keep talking, and hopefully it'll give you a sense of who Stephen is. Okay, it should change after 10 seconds, I think. Okay. I also have to tell you that Stephen has a rare chromosomal disorder. Stephen has complex needs. He's classified at the severe end of intellectual disability and autism. He has significant sensory and communication difficulties and mental health issues. Stephen is leaving school next month, and we know that what would work best for him would be the one-to-one support based in his own community from his home. We want to work with the brokerage model in the same way that Rita's daughter Helena works. And we did not just decide this yesterday. We've done a huge amount of work to prepare. Stephen is our eldest son, and you know what? I expect to be doing the same amount of work and energy into supporting and helping Michael and Rachel to make decisions for their future. Actually, do you know what? Would you just close your eyes for a second? And I want you to think about, I'm sure many of you know someone doing the Leaving Cert next week. Maybe it's a family member, maybe a friend, a neighbour. And imagine if we took away choice. Imagine if the Department of Education decided where each student would be placed, without the input of the student themselves or the family, or without taking into account the passions or interests of that person. And that they would get a place, that they would be given a place with no choice, and they would be told, do you know what, guys, you should be very grateful and very lucky to have got this place. What do you think the students about to sit their Leaving Cert next week, what do you think they'll all say about that? But yet, this is the very situation that a group of our fellow citizens, our school leavers with intellectual disabilities and autism, find themselves in with little or no choice. Going back to my point about starting this process a long time ago. 5 years ago, in 2011, my 2 best friends, Emer and Catherine, and we ran an event in Limerick to learn more about this idea of personalised budgets. Over 200 people attended that evening, and the former Minister Kathleen Lynch, opened that event for us. And we heard stories that evening from people with disabilities and their families doing that early pioneering work in Ireland. Since then, I've been to lots of conferences. I've spoken to as many people as I can. I have read reports, books, research. I have done lots of training, including the Genio 4-week training course with Hopefully Dietmar. And Hope is one of the world's leading experts on how to support people in an individual way. The more I learned and the more I read, the more I realised this would be a really good fit for our Stephen. We also know this would work from experience and from evidence. Last year, we managed to get agreement that Stephen would have home-based respite support instead of residential group-based respite. The difference has been huge. We were at the point where Stephen was so anxious and distressed in the group setting and in the days that followed, that despite desperately needing a night's sleep, we couldn't let him go to the residential respite. The small amount of home-based support that we get is working really, really well, and we have used it very intentionally to start the transition for Stephen into adult life. Stephen doing ordinary things in ordinary place with support. Things like learning to take the local bus into Limerick City. Because he's not in a large group and has gone at the same time every week, the bus driver has got to know him. And one of our neighbours, who I would know to see, also takes that same bus, and she now knows Stephen. I am acutely aware that it is important that it is not me supporting Stephen. How many other 18-year-olds would like their mammy with them on the local bus? As a family, we are absolutely committed, and have just completed a self-contained apartment for Stephen within our home by converting the garage. It gives Stephen his own space and place, close to family and in the heart of his community. And we've also intentionally created space to facilitate the staff supporting Stephen. I have been to see the existing traditional day services in our area, and their offered activities just do not suit Stephen's interests and don't correspond with his interests and passions. We know large group settings don't suit Stephen. We know this from a sensory perspective. And we also have all the lovely psychology reports, clinical and educational reports to state this as well. So all of this led to us to have discussions with our local HSE starting over 2 years ago, that this was the model of support that would really suit Stephen. And right now, we are right in the middle of it. We are in the middle of the negotiations. And it's hard. It's really hard. And I know that change is hard. I know change is hard for all the stakeholders. And I absolutely acknowledge the difficulties on all sides. But it shouldn't be like this. The hours, like Rita described, the hours spent on emails, phone calls, meetings, discussions, and all the stress associated with it, this is time that I could actually be spending planning for Stephen, giving some time to the rest of the family, or actually taking a minute for myself. There is a toll on our family, having a young adult like Stephen, when you don't get the right support. But the real toll is the constant battling. And this new battle is following on from or on top of the battle that we've just come through with all the other families, through the education system, and the battle to get some little bit of therapy through children's disability services. It must be about what's right for the person, not what has always been there, not what is easiest for the system or the institutions. We have to be clear. We have to be clear about responsibility, about integrity, vulnerability, accountability, trust. This is new, it's not easy, but when it's the right thing to do, we must step up and do it. I want to be clear that it's not an issue of funding. It's about choice over how the funding is used. Surely it makes sense